Next, I'd like to introduce our Master of Ceremony tonight, who is a dear friend of mine, John Walsh. And John and I spend a lot of time together on the polo field. And I keep telling him he's got a better career here being Master of Ceremonies. And if he would just kind of solidify in his life, you know, one thing he could do well, probably this is the place we'd rather have him, right? So, John, if you would.
Thank you, Marty. Welcome, friends of Polo. Going to be a wonderful night, and we have some incredible inductees, and I think tonight is a lot about families, and you'll hear more about that later on. But before we start, I wanted for you to give a thanks to Marty and Amanda Craig. Marty has done so much for this museum as president and put together so many of these wonderful events. And he and Amanda are #1 supporters of this place. And thank you, Marty, for all you've done over the years. The exhibits, the videos, your company's been a huge contributor to that. So tonight we're going to start like we always do with acknowledging our noble equine partners. Horses to Remember Award is presented to recognize outstanding polo ponies whose achievements on the field are singled out as worthy of special recognition. Now, this horse was foaled in 1916. Lovely thoroughbred mare Fairy Story. Gained fame first in England, where she was bred, and later in America in the fine stable of Stephen Sanford. This grand lady carved out her place in polo history as she played gamely in all the major tournaments, and then swept the most important contests of the era for evaluating polo mounts, being judged the best polo pony in the National Polo Pony Society show 3 times. 1924, 25, and 1933, and was the winner of the Prince Fairstown Cup in 1929. Experts of the day are quoted as saying one of the finest looking ponies that ever came from England is a bay mare named Fairy Story. She first came to America in 1923. In 1924, a British team came over to play for the International Cup, and in the British string was Fairy Story, which that year was played in magnificent style by Mr. Lacey. Further, it has been said, quotes, "And the queen of all ponies, perhaps the best gelding or mare which ever trotted on a polo field, is the immortal Fairy Story. But there's no comparison between Fairy Story and the rest of the ponies. Ponies like Fairy Story appear very seldom, and this man says, I'm not at all sure, but if a vote were taken of the very, very best, Fairy Story would not only be elected as possibly the best, but the most supreme animal in the history of the game." So we honor this beautiful horse tonight, and here to accept the award for his great uncle's pony, Fairy Story, is Pierre Manongult. Pierre, would you come up here, please?
Gotta get glasses. I'm getting old. All right. Well, I wasn't expecting to be first, so. And also, I didn't realize there was going to be the biography of Fairy Story, so I will cut that part out and give it this to you short and sweet. Laddie Sanford was my great uncle. He was my grandmother Gertie Lejean's brother. Uncle Laddie was born a horseman. 2 generations of his forebears had been breeding and racing fine thoroughbreds at the Hurricane Stud Farm in the Mohawk Valley outside of Saratoga since the 1880s. Uncle Laddie was also one of the last great playboys. He was the only male heir of a carpet fortune, and as such he was given a lot of fine horses by his father. At the ripe old age of 26, he became the first American owner to win the Grand National at Aintree, the greatest horse race in the world, with the good Irish-bred horse, Sergeant Murphy. He raced, he fox hunted, he showed, he pointed, but his passion was always polo. A 7-goal player, his team, the Hurricanes, won the first of 5 National Open Championships in 1926. In a career that spanned over 30 years, he had a lot of good ponies. And Fairy Story was probably his favorite and certainly his best. In 1929, she was the third of his stable to win and thus retire the Prince Friarstown Cup. Tonight, I'd like to present that trophy to the Museum of Polo. And on behalf of Uncle Laddie and on behalf of Fairy Story, I proudly accept the great honor of her induction into the Hall of Fame. Thank you. Yes, I will.
Pierre, very nice gesture. Very, very nice gesture. Thank you for bringing that beautiful trophy. Okay, the next horse. Sorry she's not for sale. That's what Ray Harrington had to say about his great mare, Ever Ready. Purchased from Joe Short, she was then trained for polo by Ray. Although a bit of a bronc at times, the minute she got on a polo field, she settled right down to play, and is remembered for her great speed, stamina, hardiness, and intelligence. And she was usually played by Harrington 2 periods a game. With Ever Ready as his mainstay, Ray Harrington won the U.S. Open in 1966, 67, 68, and 69. The gallant chestnut lady ultimately won the Hartman Award for Best Playing Pony of the Open in 1969. She was there for him when he won the 20 Gould in 1966 and numerous other important games and Best Playing Pony Awards. Then she was taken to Argentina to play in the Argentine Open in 1969. David Gerling wrote about her and her playing from 1967 to 69 and may have summed it up this way. Her name says it all. You'd better be ready for her quick handling and to stop on a dime. She was always ridden before a game and always played 2 chukkers. The fire never dies in those eyes. She will always be talked about, and she'll always be Ever Ready. Here to accept the award for Ever Ready tonight is Chuck Wright, and he's accepting it on behalf of the Ray Harrington family. Chuck, come up here, please.
Okay. Well, Eveready and I go back a long way. I remember when Ray bought her and brought her back to the ranch there in Bernie. He bought a half-sister to her also at the same time from the same ranch. Her half-sister only bucked me off one time. Eveready, I don't remember exactly, but I know she bucked me off a couple of times. But I'm not alone. Some of the top players and horsemen of the time got bucked off from Eveready, including Ray. The only one that did not was David Gerling. Excuse me. And he is probably the lowest handicap of the whole bunch, you know. Eveready and he got along, yes. Anyway, I'm so proud also to be here to accept this award for the Harrington family. I'll take it back to San Antonio where I live. Excuse me again. The dinner was very good. But anyway, she was quite a mare, and I'll never forget her, nor her half-sister, who also bugged me off. That sounds like the story of my life. I was injured. I don't know, most of you know me. I was injured playing polo in 1977 down in the old Boca Raton field, the original one. And that ended my polo and my horse career. But I still stay with it. And thanks to Tim Gannon, who helped finance my trip down here this year, and also the Harringtons, who are expecting this award, which I will give him, of course. That's about all I know.
Over here, and then we're going to give you the award. I'm going to help you stand up here. Okay? Take your time. Take your time, sweetie. John, come here and hold it here.
Good job, Chuck. And thank you for coming so far. Still love polo, and polo's in your heart, but thank you for making the effort tonight, Chuck. Now, I'm going to talk about the Eaglehart Award. It started in 2001, and it was given to acknowledge exceptional life contributions to the sport of polo. The first inductee tonight posthumously is Bill Gilmore. Bill Gilmore is remembered as a powerful force in California polo in the days after World War II, when polo was only a vision of the past and a hope for the future. There were no fields, few players, and fewer horses. But Gilmore wouldn't let the sport die and set about to rebuild its foundation. He encouraged players to return to the game and is credited with mentoring many polo stars of the era. He helped revive the San Mateo and Menlo Park polo clubs. And further south, he helped Santa Barbara to regain its place in the sun. And he became a charter member of the El Dorado Polo Club. American polo, and California polo in particular, owe Bill Gilmore a great deal for his unwavering commitment to the game. Tonight, Bill's grandchildren, Lynn Jason Cobb and her brother William Gilmore Jason, and their cousin Laura Pfaff, and a great-granddaughter, Lynn's polo-playing daughter, Madeline Mackle Cobb, came all this way to receive this trophy and this award. Please come up. And
Looks just like me. I'm William Gilmore Jason, Bill Jason, or is known as Mac and Madeline's son in the polo world. As a family member, we would like to thank the Polo Hall of Fame for this prestigious Philip Eaglehart Award. As an award, we feel humbled by polo. Polo has given to our family far more than we could ever give back. Bill Gilmore, grandfather, gave so much time and energy to polo, from the clubs located in San Francisco, down the West Coast, and inland to Palm Springs. At each of the clubs, San Francisco, San Mateo, Burlingame, Menlo Circus Club in Atherton, Pogonip in Santa Cruz, Pebble Beach, Santa Barbara, Riviera, Los Angeles, and Palm Springs. He always nurtured, supported polo, and the people who surrounded it. For example, across the dining room table, there were always the likes of Eric Pedley, Billy Linfoot, Bob Skeen, and a list too long of notables on a frequent basis. Many of them, we affectionately called them Uncle, or, as always, they were related by affection, and that was part of being a polo family. A great polo-playing friend, Dr. Tom Schulte, would love to quote my grandfather. There is no faster or better way to see the inner workings of a person than put him on a horse and give him out. My favorite story about his passion for polo was on or off the field is when I was a young man, I would go into his office at Gilmore Steel. And in his bathroom, he had a trap door leading up to a room with a wooden polo horse and mattresses on the wall. The floors were cannoned so the ball would come back to several different hitting positions. He was a master of multitasking. He would slip upstairs at an idle break. Yes, he would hit polo balls. Time constraining, he would steam, shower, and retreat down the staircase, ready for his next meeting, refreshed. The greatest legacy he left behind were his two daughters, Grace Gilmore Knoop and my mother, Madeline Gilmore Jason. They could carry on the sidelines and not miss a call as third man. And many in this room knew them, and they loved polo, and they were both a really important part of their life. Well, it's been 50 years and 20 years, respectively, that Bill Gilmore and Phil Eigelhart both stood on the shoulders of polo forefathers and leaving behind a wonderful legacy of polo into the future. On behalf of the greater Jason, Knoop, and Gilmore family, thank you for the honor bestowed. Lynn?
Bill, that's fabulous. Thank you. And I really want to thank the nominating committee, and especially to Russell Corey and Phil Heatley, who's shown us a great time, but also to Glenn Holden, who reminded me of what a powerful force my grandfather was after World War II. He was successful in the steel industry and had a plane and could visit all the clubs in the Pacific Coast Circuit. Now that included Alberta, Canada, Vancouver, Washington, Oregon, California, Arizona, but it also included Hawaii and the Philippines. He visited them all. He loved polo. And the other, another really fun and special story is I watched my grandfather play polo. He was unbelievable. He always loved wearing the number 2 on his back. His passion was taking out the opposing 3 and riding as fast as he could all the time. And I watched him. It was very, very special. One of the most memorable moments, though, was he really appreciated the women behind the men that support their husbands playing polo. Now it's the other way around, but then the women supported the men. And when he won, when he was playing with Bob Skeen in Santa Barbara, and for a couple of years won the Pacific Coast Inner Circuit. But when he won the National Inner Circuit, that was a really big deal, and he understood that the women really were behind him. So he had Don Howden make what my brother calls a hubcap, but this beautiful gold medallion that with a polo player and a diamond, which he gave to my grandmother, Grace Gilmore, who was just the most amazing woman. My mother, because my father played with my grandfather and Bob Skeen at that time, and also to Renee Moore, and it was very special that he really appreciated the women. When I started playing polo in the mid-late 70s, I had an opportunity to play in Sue Sally Hale's tournament and won it. So my grandmother took it off her bracelet and gave it to me. And ever since then, I've always had this amazing connection with my grandfather and my grandmother, my father who played polo also, and I've continued the passion that he's instilled. And I just love the passion that is, that just happens when you are a polo playing family. It is, so here I'm a third generation. My daughter's a fourth generation. And what I'm really proud of is my grandfather supported and nurtured polo in California. Now, my father continued as president of Menlo Polo Club while he was Pacific Coast governor. Now I'm president. And, you know, here this club's been in existence for approximately 90 years, give or take a few. And it's still going strong. He also started polo in the desert, and that's still going strong. And I'm just so proud that here we are, you know, many years later, still being able to being involved in the clubs that he started and supported, nurtured, and nurtured. So thank you all very much.
Thank you, Gilmore family, for coming all this way. Thank you for sharing the stories about, as I mentioned, tonight's a lot about families, so you represented your grandfather very well. Thank you. Now, as I mentioned, it's a real honor tonight because I get to induct a couple of friends of mine into the Polo Hall of Fame. And this one is a special friend that I've known for years and I believe is a very special man, and he is all about family. So let me tell you a little bit about him first. And I just saw a picture of him at 16 years old. At 16 years old, Tim Gannon rode his first... That's not the 16-year-old picture. But at 16, Tim Gannon rode his first polo pony at Bud Heatley's farm. That's Phil Heatley's father's farm in El Paso, Texas. And his interest early on evolved beyond playing polo into supporting numerous polo causes that he continues to champion today. During his polo career, Tim Gannon's Outback teams won 5 U.S. Open championships between 1995 and 2001. Really. And one of his favorite players is sitting at his table right there, Memo Brasida, that are still great friends today. Another Polo Hall of Fame guy. Now, some of his other wins are the 1999 Gold Cup, the 1995 Silver Cup, the 1997 America Cup, 1994 National Copper Cup, 2005 and 6 President's Cup, the 1993 Delegates Cup, and numerous other league and foreign championships throughout the U.S. Internationally, he's also won the Gold and Silver Cups at Soto Grande and the Masters Cup in Argentina. However, this is what I love about this guy. His most outstanding contributions to the sport are undoubtedly his charitable giving, for which he's legendary. Seen it firsthand. Truly. He's been a stalwart supporter of such causes as the Polo Players Support Group, which he co-founded and has co-sponsored since it began. Chuckers for Charity, Work to Ride, the Capital Hospice Polo Club. I played in that game for years with Tim, with Nacho Figueres, and Dee and Bo Van Meter are somewhere back there. And together, the Van Meters and Tim have raised $15 million and have broken ground on a beautiful hospice building in Northern Virginia. And you've been there every year, Tim. Every year. You and the Van Meters, I don't know where Bo and Dee are, but you're back there somewhere. You brought that dream to fruition. He supported the Capitol Hospice Polo Club. He supported the museum right here, the British Forces Foundation, the Bonaconti Fund to Cure Paralysis, the Heart Equine Ambulance Charity Dinners, women's polo. He's a great supporter of women's polo and beach polo and many, many other charities. I've been to so many functions with this guy. He not only supports the charities, he provides the lunches, whether it's Outback or Carrabba's, whatever he's involved with, they supply the food, they supply the staff. He's one of those guys, you know, he doesn't talk the talk very much, but he really walks the walk. And he truly. And he's here with his beautiful family. He's a great dad, and some of his kids are here. His son Chris, who is carrying on his father's tradition. I know you played with your father for a lot of years, Chris. Now you're over in Tampa, and he's having a big charity event that Tim and I are going to go over and play in, and supporting 3 charities that day. So you're carrying on the mantle for your dad, and we're proud of you, Chris. 2 more of his kids are here. Beautiful Kathleen is somewhere around here. I don't know where you're at, Kathleen. You're back there. Gorgeous, beautiful woman. Blake is here. Blake, I don't know where you're sitting, Blake. Another beautiful daughter. And probably the light of your life in your little advancing years, I can say that because I'm a senior citizen, is your 2 younger children. JT, I know he's home watching reruns of Sesame Street. He was a little tired. And you, he's supposed to be watching America's Most Wanted. But that little gal, did she take a break? That beautiful, gorgeous little daughter of yours and Christy's sitting right there. Wonderful, beautiful mom and wife. But Bettina, that gorgeous little girl, I know your eyes light up when you see her. But you're a good dad. You're a great father. You're a good husband, and you're a charitable guy. And we have another guy that came all the way tonight. He flew all the way yesterday from England, and he's on his way tomorrow. He runs the USO shows for the British forces and American forces coming out of London. And Mark Cann knows Tim, and he flew all the way to England on his way to Afghanistan. And please say hello to all our friends and those troops that are supporting us over there and holding back those troops. What you do in Afghanistan is wonderful. But Mark, please come up here. You have a special message for Tim.
Economy as well. Okay. I'll be very brief, I promise, but I speak for British Military Polo, known as the Combined Services Polo Association, and in so doing I speak on behalf of our patron, His Royal Highness the Prince of Wales. UK military polo effectively invented the modern sport in the 1860s in India, and in a sense we see ourselves as the custodians of it. So how do we know Tim? Essentially it was through an event some years ago now held at the Royal Military Academy Santos, and probably the best thing to do is read you the way we presented our support for Tim winning this award tonight. Tim went on to support the event for the next 9 years and introduced many others to add their support. The result of this was the saving of the Combined Services Polo Association and UK military polo. That feat is not just important if you love polo and its history, but also because since then the CSPA has gone on to teach princes to play the game, raise millions for various charities in Africa, America and the United Kingdom, as well as annually introducing 100 new people who have joined the military from all ranks to the sport. Tim has been a true friend and significant supporter of us and all its values, and has made a unique and lasting contribution to the sport through identifying our plight, what we offered, and backing us for a significant period. We are certainly in Tim Gannon's lasting debt, but I hope, and I really do hope I'm not being too presumptuous by saying that as the CSPA is a force for good in the sport is also in the debt of Tim Gannon. Congratulations, Tim.
Very nice job, Mark. Please, again, fly safe into Afghanistan. Keep your head down. The British and American forces have stood shoulder to shoulder to hold back those horrible terrorists that invade our world. So now I want to bring up my friend. It's a real honor to induct Tim Gannon, a guy who's had great success but believes in giving back.
Thank you, everybody, and thanks, John Walsh. What a wonderful. Can I get one round of applause for John? What a guy! You think I give? This guy gives all day, all night. Wonderful guy, and thanks. I hope you enjoyed the food tonight. That's Carrabba's, and I always promise. I said if I get this award, you're going to eat well tonight. So I hope you enjoyed the steaks and all that. And then, before I get started, I would like to ask all the people that have donned an Outback jersey over your period of time, over my history from the Bronze Cup, to please stand up and let me say thank you for donning Memo Gracida, Adam Snow, Julio Arellano, Chris Gannon, Phil Heatley, Juan Salinas, Julio, all the guys. I mean, they're all around. Adam, Mike Azaro. Anyway, thank you all for, polo is the oldest team sport in the world, and it's about team. You get a lot of credit for winning great cups and all that, and I get a lot for what I've given to polo. Let me tell you what it's given to me. First of all, let me tell you my quick story how I got into polo. This is the saddle right here that Phil's father gave to me. Phil said, come to El Paso, Texas, and we're going to play polo. I left a lifeguard job on the beach of Fort Lauderdale to go to the heat of El Paso and on the Rio Grande River and to play polo. And there's pictures of me that are there shoveling horse shit 12 feet high and painting a barn that it was not polo. So very quickly I said to Phil's father, I said, how do you get to play polo? He says, oh no, you need a lot of money, son. You need a lot of money. I said, well, how do you get a lot of money? He said, well, there are 3 ways. And you got to listen to this one, guys, especially for the young players. 3 ways. The first way, you got to marry somebody really wealthy, really wealthy. So I said, Phil, do you know anybody really wealthy? And he says, yeah. I said, why don't you marry them, and then I'll be your polo guy. I'll play polo with you. And he said, I'm not sure about that. I don't know how that works. But and so that was our deal. At 16, Phil and I cut a deal. One of us was going to make it, and the other one gets to be the polo guy. And I always thought Phil had a degree from University of Texas, a PhD in psychology. I was an art history major. Whoa, giving lectures in the Uffizi. So, and so I said, Phil, all right, so get to number 2. What's the second way? Well, you get to go to Wharton. You got to go to Harvard. I'm a C student at Maikai. I'm going to high school at Maikai, parking cars late at night till 3 in the morning. I said, that's not going to happen. I said, let's get to the third one. The third one. Okay, the third one is this. You've got to bring something into the marketplace. You've got to create something that's not there. Think of the guy Velcro. Do you all know how Velcro started? A Swiss engineer took his dog hunting in the Swiss Alps, started pulling sand spurs off his dog and said, wow, if I can duplicate that and put that in plastic, I'll make Velcro. That's how Velcro started. So I said, all right, where's my Velcro? So I'm in New Orleans, and I'm like working it, sloughing away in the restaurants, in the trenches of all the restaurants, behind the lines and all that. And finally I see this bloomin' onion. And when I saw that bloomin' onion, I said, that's my Velcro. That is my Velcro. So I called Phil. I said, Phil, we're going to the polo fields. I said, we are going to go to the polo fields. We're going to be polo players. At 40 years old, and I sold a saddle, this saddle, sitting right here. And if you touch this saddle, all the stories of my polo career will come to you without ever me saying a word. They come automatic. So I sold the saddle for $250 in Houston, Texas to get gas money. That's how broke I was to get to Tampa, Florida. I arrived in Tampa, $37. I finally, then Outback, the Bloomin' Onion worked, and I bought the saddle back, and by 41 years old to 50, won 5 U.S. Opens, became #1 in the world in polo, and I have the saddle here still with me. So here's to keeping your saddle. Here's to keeping your saddle. But make sure there's a horse underneath it. See, if you have a saddle with no horse, this is called ambition. Something's got to go underneath the saddle. So this will give you ambition. So have a saddle or a bridle. Bridles can work. They're a little cheaper and lighter. But either one will give you ambition. And that's what you need to play polo. You need a lot of ambition, a lot of desire. Now, I want to end up on just a couple of stories. I started high goal polo with Memo Gracida. And I love Memo. The first time we played together with Mike Azaro, Alfonso Pierres, and Eddie Martinez, we played on the #3 field, and we went to 9 shuckers. And I said, Memo, you'll see me again. And he said, who is that guy? That year, we went off, and he said, so I said, talk Memo, and I said, Memo, please let me come and practice and try out for the Outback. For trying to play the U.S. Open. So we went, and I played with him, and I scored nine goals in a practice game. I said, Phil, I got this. I know how to do this. Phil said, I don't know. You had a manufactured day there. That was a manufactured day. That was a Memo Gracida day. You are now hooked. So, and I was happy to be hooked, by the way. By the way, I'm happy to be hooked, because I went and won the U.S. Open. So I win 2 U.S. Opens, then we come back, we back-to-back, Mike Cazarro. We win again. So I said, wow, that's great, I'm done now. Then Adolfo comes by. No, Corky Linfoot, Santa Barbara, on the coastline. Saddle getting heavier, I'm getting weaker. But Corky Linfoot comes to me, I'm on the beach in Santa Barbara, and Corky says to me, he says, yeah, you won the Open. Yeah, but Memo, it's number 16 for Memo. You won because of Memo. I said, oh, you son of a bitch. Now I got to go back and win and beat Memo. So that's what I got to do. So Adolfo came to me and he said, I want to play with you. I think you're good luck. Because I beat him by 9, Memo and I beat him by 9 goals in New York. We spanked him. So Adolfo never won the Open. He says, I want to win that Open with you. I said, okay, let's go get Memo. So all I wanted to do was to go beat Memo. I didn't care about winning the Open. I just had to beat Memo. So I went and did it, and I did it back to back for 3 more years. So Memo, you were my guiding light. You were my inspiration after the saddle. No, but this is the beauty of polo. There's stories of ambition, stories of struggle, stories of putting teams together, making the magic. But it's, at the end of the day, it's a story of teamwork, a beautiful symphony of putting great players, great horses. God Almighty, I bought some horses. And they take you to the winning circle. But having the courage to do the right thing, to get the right horses, the right players, and then end up where I am tonight. So thank you all for coming. Thank you for honoring me. Mike Azaro, I am thrilled to be here with you. And the last thing I want to do is to say thank you to Phil Heatley, who made all of this. My career, Outback, made everything possible. Phil Heatley, please stand up. On the other side. Yeah. And the last thing I want to do is present this saddle to someone who needs a little bit of drive and a little bit of push to become the great next Outback to take my steps. I'm going to present this saddle to my son, Chris.
Phil, please come up.
Christy, come up for this picture, would you? Christy? No? You're the most beautiful gal in the whole Gannon family.
All right. Phil's going to say something for me.
I want to be the first to congratulate you here, Tim. Tim, congratulations. For the other half.
How nice. I think Tim's a great example of somebody who achieves some great success and realizes he has to give back, wants to give back. That's your whole family with you. How nice. Okay, we're moving on. It says any person shall be eligible for election to the Polo Hall of Fame who has contributed to the game in an extraordinary and honorable manner, whether by dedication to the sport or by ability and record as a player. For posthumous recognition for his skill on the playing field, the inductee is Robert Gould Shaw II. A star of the first magnitude, Robert Gould Shaw was better known as Bobby Shaw and was considered to be one of the titans of the late 19th and early 20th century American polo. Honing his skills on the fields of Myopia Hunt Club, he achieved a rating of 9 golds. Among his many accomplishments, he won the senior championship and added cups, which was the equivalent of the national championship, in its inaugural year of 1895, and then won it again in 1904. The 1892 Polo Association and added cups again, and the Astor Gold Cup. His play was described as incredibly brilliant, and having also assembled a fine string of ponies, he defeated the best teams in the country in what were then the top contests in the early days of polo. With us tonight to accept the award for Robert Gould Shaw is his great-grandson, Alexander Agassiz Shaw. Alexander, would you come up, please?
This is his great-granddaughter. How are you?
Oh, nice to meet you. Please say.
Thanks. Hang on a second. Good evening. I am the great-grandson of Robert Gould Shaw IV, here on behalf of my father, Robert Gould Shaw II, who was unable to attend. My name is Alexander Agassiz Shaw II, named after one of Robert Gould's sons. I want to thank Mr. Horace LaFay, the chairman of the nominating committee, and also the committee for this great honor. I also thank the board of directors of the Museum of the Polo and the Hall of Fame. My brief remarks tonight stem from information gleaned from the book American Polo by Newell Bent, published in New York by Macmillan Company in 1929. In 1889, Boston really took up the game of polo, although it had been played for 5 years on a rough field nearby in Watertown. In 1890, the Boston team was made up of Messrs. R.M. Appleton, R.G. Shaw, G.L. Peabody, and A.P. Gardner. They went to Newport and won the Constellation Cups. The Myopia Hunt Club became a member of the United States Polo Association in August of 1890, having started as a hunting club in 1882. Rodolph L. Agassiz, Robert Gould Shaw II, Quincy Adams Shaw all played at Myopia. The Harvard Polo Club, the oldest college polo organization, first started playing in the 1880s. Each year, good players took the place of their elders. Mr. Bobby Shaw, as he was called, for instance, watched one afternoon a team made up of his 4 sons play a close match against the Myopia team. When I read that, I went, can you imagine 4 sons all going to Harvard at the same time and playing polo? That's a big expense. So, those 4 sons were Gould, Paul, Louis, and Alexander, my grandfather, who made up the Harvard team. They practiced and played other teams at Boulder Farm, the family's place in Newton, Mass., the nearest and most convenient field from Cambridge. My father has told me that the Myopia hunt was originally founded by 5 gentlemen who had a great deal in common. In many ways, one commonality naturally led to the name of the club. Of those men, my great-grandfather, R.G. Shaw II, whose favorite polo pony was blinded in one eye as a result of a polo accident. It has been said by some that he and the pony were a perfect team. Each trusted the other side. Their blind eyes were on opposite sides. Phoebe, his triple great-granddaughter, was kind enough to join me here. We flew down from Boston today. We live in Hamilton, right around the corner from Myopia, and though we don't play polo, we certainly watch it regularly. I can assure you that my father, R.G. Shaw II, will be pleased and honored to receive this important trophy when I return to Hamilton. Thank you all very much, and thank you to the
Thank you, Shaw family, for coming and accepting for your grandfather. Okay, as I talked about the theme of family tonight, and you saw there are lots of families that came a long, long way. There are lots of polo players who play with their sons like I do. And our last inductee tonight is one of those guys I'm honored to call a friend. I played with him, had the wonderful privilege of playing with him. And I want to tell you a little bit about Mike Azaro. In 1986, at the age of 21, young Mike Azaro burst into the national scene, winning his first U.S. Open championship and the Cartier International Open, followed by recognition in 1987 with the Polo Excellence Award for Young Player of the Year, and the Centennial Era Young Player in 1990, and in 1994, the Player of the Year. He attained a 10-goal handicap. He held that handicap for 14 years. He's still a menace and a star on the field. 14 years. During his remarkable career, Mike won 6 U.S. Open championships between 1989 and 2012. The Silver Cup 3 times, the Butler Handicap, the Iglehart Cup, and the 30-goal World Cup. As part of his international record, Mike was a member of the national team playing in the Coronation Cup in 1987, 1988, 1997, which they won that cup in 87. The Princes of Wales Trophy, the Warwickshire, the Cowdrey Park Challenge, Ashton, the Silver Jubilee, the Royal Windsor Cups, and he won Cowdrey's Gold Cup in England when he replaced Roberto Gonzalez during the final game. Mike has also had 2 Hartman Award winners as best playing ponies in the U.S. Open, Minuet in 91 and Beetlejuice, who doesn't know Beetlejuice, in 1996. Now, he's here with his beautiful wife, Amy, and his 3 gorgeous kids. Allie is 14. She's going to pass Sonny Hale's 5-goal record someday, 5-goal handicap. Harrison, who's 12. I think I saw Harrison floating around somewhere. Hunter, who's 7. Most wonderful, beautiful, beautiful family. Mike, you're a good dad. You've played in many charity games. You've given so much back to polo. But in the theme of talking about families playing polo, I wanted to bring up your real inspiration, your mentor, and that's your dad, Vince. Come up here, Vince.
Good evening. I'm probably the proudest person in this room today. In fact, I am. Mike was 3rd generation in our family. It all started with my uncle, who was a colonel with George Patton, General Patton. And Patton encouraged all his officers that could ride to play polo. And this was to enhance their strategic senses on the battleground. So that's how our family got started in polo. Mike grew up on our farm in Barrington, Illinois, which was also a polo club. And he and his brother Sean in Rome all started playing at a very young age. His sisters always helped at the games with tack and etc., walking horses. And Mike would always tell me, Dad, I want to be a 10-goal player when I grow up. And this was, I was probably at that time 10 years old. So. And Mike was fortunate because there were many other polo families that played at our club, including the Smickless families, the Ryans, the Wigdalls, and the Ulvasackers. But beyond being a great player, Mike is a great family man. He has a wonderful wife, and as John said before, his 3 great kids, my grandchildren. And he's a dedicated horseman, a hard worker, and he also never stops working. He just, all the time. 5 years ago, I had a horse-related accident. I shouldn't be breaking horses at 76. Mike rushed me to the hospital and saved my life. I congratulate Mike for the honor of this induction, and I know his mother, if she was alive, would be just as proud as I am. Thank you.
Nice job, Vince. Now you can see why Mike's a chip off the old block. Mike, we all watched you last year when you won the U.S. Open. And you were playing phenomenal, you were running like hell, and you were the reason that team won the Open, and you were most valuable player. But you're really the most valuable player as a husband and a father. So come up here, we're honored to induct you in the Hall of Fame, my friend Mike Azaro.
Well, how do I top that? I mean, fortunately, my dad came up and he kind of said everything for me. But I'd like to thank the committee and everybody that elected me to have this unbelievable award. I'm very humbled to be up here, and like my dad said, it's been a dream my whole life, and it just there's nothing like it. I mean, polo has been a sport that has been in my life, it seems, every day. And now I get to share it with my family and my kids, and it's a great honor to be up here. Last year I got a second chance in the sport. It had been quite a few years since I'd been in the finals of the U.S. Open, and I had some great teammates. Liv and Lee put the team together, and Facundo Perez and Magu Laprida. Now, I had been playing in Florida over 29 years, and both of those professionals do not even, they haven't reached 29 years old yet. So, at my age, I'm glad I have good young players, and I'm sure a lot of the players that I've played with in the past were thinking the same about when I was there. So, it's awesome to be here. There's a lot of great teammates that I've played with, starting from the days of Ritama when I started working as a young kid. We moved to San Antonio, and I got a job working with Memo Gracida. And my dad says that I'm a hard worker. I had to be a hard worker. He gave me a lot of opportunities in San Antonio and through my career, and I owe a lot of this to him, and I appreciate everything he did for me, Noah. Now, I played many years in Europe, and I went over with Dale Smickless the first year as a professional, for a professional season. And Dale, I probably didn't give him enough credit as we played together through the years. But as a champion on the polo field and a great friend off the field, Dale Smiklis is as great as they come. And thank you for everything, Dale. The other great pro is the one that got me my first U.S. Open. And Owen Reinhardt gave me the opportunity when I was 5 goals to play on a team here in Florida in the Cartier International. We won that, and then we continued on to Retama the next fall, and we won the U.S. Open. And Owen, you know, there's no polo player I really believe that loves polo like Owen. And I miss him out in the polo field, but he's been a great friend, and thank you again, Owen, for everything. There's so many great sponsors that without them I would have never achieved what I've achieved. And the support from Tim Gannon with the Open, you know, it was great playing with you, Tim. You're an unbelievable competitor on the field. Glenn Holden, he was, you know, awesome. There's so many other guys out here, you know, the Ganseys I played with and had a great times with them. And I know I'm forgetting somebody. Scott Devon, you know, we played many years together, and unfortunately we had a couple bad injuries on our teams, or else I really believe he would have 2 U.S. Opens in his pocket. And his family, you know, they're like my family, and thank you so much for all your support, Scott and Terry. The one guy that really pushed me to understand the horses in high-go polo was Adolphus Busch. He gave me a great... I believe I was 7 goals, and I was playing for Adolphus, and we made a deal that he would buy me a set amount of horses, and super horses. And at that time, I was like, you know, every young player, no, I want the money, and you know, I can win it on my own. But he convinced me into having these 3 mares, and these 3 mares took me to 10 goals. And, you know, thank you so much, Adolphus. On and off the field, we've been awesome friends, and I appreciate the friendship. Thank you so much. And I'd like to also thank all the wives in polo. I mean, there's so many great ones. Mimi Brasida, Terry Devon. I mean, if I look around and don't name you, I'm really sorry. But all, you know, the wives are huge behind us, and it's, you know, it's without them we're not going to just, you know, it's not winning without them is not the same, you know. And I thank them all. Thank you all. Now, going back to my dad, you know, he started us back in Chicago and gave me some awesome opportunities. And, you know, he talks about my work ethic, that came from him. And, you know, he really just taught us as children we have to work hard and continue working hard. And I get up every day and go out like I was a young teenager again and try to do as much as I can. I wake up a lot sore than I used to, but I try as hard. And my mother, you know, like my father said, she passed away, and she was, you know, in her eyes, I was always a winner. And, you know, that's something that every parent needs to do with their children. You know, no matter how I played, she was always, you know, if I lost a game and I played bad, I was a champion. And, you know, it's just awesome to have a mother like that. So speaking of my family, Alexandra, Harrison, and Hunter, you know, you guys are the love of my life. And I wake up every day, go onto the polo field, and I play, it wouldn't be the same going on there, and I wouldn't want to win a game without them there. And having them now, unfortunately, I was, you know, they were much younger when I was 10 goals, and But like I said, I got a second chance last year, and hopefully we'll have another chance this year that they can appreciate it and see it. So they're wonderful, and thank you, and I hope they become great in the sport also. So I'm not going to keep you long. That's about it. There is one more, obviously, the love of my life. 22 years we've been married, Amy, and traveling around with me has not been the easiest, I'm sure. But, the support that Amy's given me, and is, this is all us. And I love you and thank you for everything. One more thing, my brothers and sister, they always kind of took the back seat, and being in the position that we were at, and I was winning the tournaments or flying overseas and stuff. It's not easy, and they've always supported me, and it's just been a great feeling to know that that you have that love backing you. And Amy's parents are here, and I appreciate you, and thank you for coming in, and they're awesome people, and thank you again. Thank you, everyone.
Well, let's get the family up here. This is family night. Congratulations. You can get. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Get your family up here. This is family night. And while you're getting your whole family up here, I'm going to make a couple thank yous. We go right in front there, beautiful Azaro family. Dad, get up here. You're breaking horses at 76. Mike's just a rookie, right? He's just starting his career.
I'm 81.
81? Wow. God bless you. Okay, while they're taking the family picture, I don't want to forget our wonderful sponsors. We have Grand Champions Polo Club, Mark and Melissa Ganzi, that are sitting right over here, and I want to thank here's the rest of the family. I want to personally thank the Ganzis for all they do at Grand Champions. You really do a phenomenal job with women's polo, children's polo. You are involved in so many charitable things. Mark and Melissa, thank you so much. International Polo Club, Palm Beach is one of the sponsors tonight. John Walsh is over there, Jimmy Newman, John Goodman. Thank you for your continued support of the Polo Hall of Fame. Barb Uscup, I think Barb's somewhere here tonight. Thank you, Barb. Pamela and Wayne Garrison and the Jan Pamela Club Polo team, thank you so much. God bless you, Mike. We also have Lippman Brothers, Robert Lippman somewhere here. Thank you for sponsoring again. Brown Foreman, Kathy Brown. I've played polo with her a zillion times. Kathy, you're somewhere here tonight. We also have Bacardi USA, Fetzer Vineyards, Tito's Handmade Vodka, Tim Gannon. Yes, Carrabba's was the best food we've ever had here. Carrabba's is fantastic. Everybody has to go support Carrabba's. And I wanted to thank Brenda and George. George is right over here. Brenda is somewhere. Beautiful Brenda. Thank you for putting the hard work you do here at the Museum and Hall of Fame. Everybody have a good time tonight. God bless you. Don't forget, the Polo Hall of Fame and Museum is a non-profit. It couldn't exist without your support. So thank you for your support. Have lots of fun, dance, sing, drive home safe. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Mr. John Walsh.